Find sine inverse of the number -1/2. Okay, so we're looking for the inverse function of sine of -1/2. It's negative. Okay, what are we looking for? We seek real number y, and this time it has to be on the interval, closed interval from -π/2 to +π/2. Let's draw a picture of that. π/2, -π/2. That means we're either in quadrant 1 or quadrant 4. Okay, those are our choices, either 1 or 4. Okay, so y has to live either in quadrant 1 or quadrant 4 and be a value between -π/2 and π/2, such that the sine of this y is equal to the -1/2. So you must take note that that is a negative number. Okay, so let's stop for a moment and think about where the sine function is going to be negative. Is the sine function negative in quadrant 1? Think all students take calculus. No, it's not going to be negative in quadrant 1, but it will be negative in quadrant 4. So I'm expecting this guy to live in quadrant 4. Let's continue. The numbers 1 and 2 are interesting because they come from the 30, 60, 90 triangle. So let's draw that 30, 60, 90. We have π/3, π/6, π/2, 1, 2, square root of 3. Now, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so the sine of our π/6 gives us 1/2. That's interesting, but there's a problem. We want the sine of our y to equal -1/2, not +1/2. Okay, so this isn't going to be our answer. π/6 is not going to be our answer, but it's going to be interesting. π/6 is going to be our reference number. Remember reference numbers, reference angles? It's our reference number. Okay, so let's continue thinking about this. Since our y must live in either quadrant 1 or quadrant 4, and we need sine function negative, we've already talked about this, but now I'm stating it formally. We see that of the choices of quadrant 1 and quadrant 4, our y must live in quadrant 4 because that's where the sine function is negative. And it's going to have the reference angle or reference number π/6. Yes, I'm very excited about that. Okay, so let's find y. We may find y by drawing a graph, and we're going to do the y-axis and the x-axis. π/2, -π/2. We're in quadrant 4 with a reference angle, y bar equals π/6. Okay, so what's y going to be equal to? It's equal to -π/6. It has to be a number between -π/2 and π/2. So we can't let it go in the positive direction. It has to open in the negative direction. It's -π/6. Great. Y equals -π/6. It lives in the closed interval from -π/2 to +π/2. And its sine function is equal to -1/2. That meets every condition we were required to meet. We have our answer. Sine inverse of -1/2 is the number -π/6. Isn't this cool? It's like a Sherlock Holmes moment.